A day of Twitch is inherently flawed, and I probably will not be joining it. But before we can actually go through my reasons of why I'm not going to join it, we of course first have to go through what a day of Twitch is and why it's being held. Recently, a lot of different streamers, mostly LGBTQ and POC, have been targeted by a lot of hate raids with bots who spam slurs and other similar content in people's chats. And a lot of these creators who have been targeted by said hate have been very vocal about it, as they of course should be, in the hopes that something would be done about them. But nothing has yet been done about the whole raids, and they've mostly been met by a lot of people just saying comments like, just put your chat in the follower mode or just put it in sub only mode, which of course is not possible for a small streamer. If you're a small streamer and you put your chat into any sort of restrictive mode, that's gonna just skyrocket your bounce rate and completely kill your stream and any chance of you ever growing that channel that you're streaming on. So in order to pressure Twitch into doing something about the issue, people are planning to have a pseudo strike on Twitch where they won't be streaming on September the 1st. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I'm not too excited about the A Day of Twitch thingy, and I don't really have too high hopes for it. First of all, let's start off with how it's pressuring Twitch, which is the way they're trying to force Twitch into doing something about the issue. Most likely the biggest thing to come out of this has just been the articles about the hate raids. That's it. The actual act itself doesn't matter. The articles have already been written. And yeah, at this point it doesn't matter if people actually go through with a day of a Twitch or not. There is practically no difference. People think that like it's gonna affect Twitch's bottom line or something, and that's gonna make like all the difference, but that's just like not true. Bunch of mid-size streamers and maybe a handful of bigger streamers not streaming in a single day is not gonna affect anything. The ad revenue isn't that high, and if people want to sub to your channel, which generates money for Twitch as well, they're still gonna do that, just on a different day. So yeah, that one day looks bad, but the rest of the month just literally makes up for it. And then we have another category of problems with a day of Twitch. Let's for a moment imagine that none of the previous issues I just mentioned existed. Let's say that this would be a way you could actually influence Twitch and pressure Twitch. What would Twitch actually do? A lot of people aligned with the movement and with the plan of a day of Twitch have been either really out of touch or just straight up dishonest. People have been just basically lying about how capable Twitch actually is, and people have just made some comments that literally are just worse than the solutions that people already have for the issue. Let's start off with the dishonest ones, because like obviously there aren't that many. The dishonest people just basically go with the narrative of oh, but Twitch could so easily just figure out which accounts are bots and whatever, and just prevent this from ever happening, which is actually just dumb. That's not going to happen, that's never going to happen, that hasn't happened. Twitch has been battling with the bot issue for a while, even outside of hate raids, and they've been able to do these waves of bot bans, but actually figuring out automatically that some account is or isn't a bot is extremely hard. Like, you get that Twitch actually has been trying to battle the bot issue for a while now. Viewer bots are a huge problem because obviously it's gonna affect advertisement quite heavily as well. So they like already have a monetary incentive to fix the bot issue. A monetary incentive that's a way bigger on a completely different scale than anything a day of Twitch will be. And if that hasn't like solved the problem, what makes you think that a day of Twitch will? Now you might remember that earlier I mentioned something about being way out of touch as well, not just dishonesty. And here's where this tweet comes out. So we're wondering or looking for different solutions at which could like use to prevent these hate raids. And Trihex, in his infinite wisdom, came up with the idea of a two-factor authentication toggle. So two-factor authentication only chat. Like, isn't that just the same thing as follower mode but worse? Like, the reason people aren't using follower mode, leaving themselves vulnerable to these kinds of like hate raids, is like the fact that having follower mode on creates an additional barrier to join someone's community. And of course for small streams that's just like basically suicide for the whole channel. It's channel suicide, that's what it is. And I genuinely believe that it is harder to find people with two-factor authentication enabled on their accounts than it is to find people who are willing to follow you to engage with your community. Like, I feel like a lot of streamers have this like extremely inflated idea of how many people actually have 2FA on, because streamers themselves are like actually required to have it on, and their accounts are worth like actually a lot. But that's not true for the average like user, the person who just views other people's streams, engages with a couple of communities. If they lose their account, they can just make another one, and you know, that's about it. Yay, issue solved. Like, it's not that big of a deal for the average viewer. And they can literally even mention that, hey, I used to have this account, but now I swapped into this account. And that's it, and life goes on, and there is no issue. So a lot of people don't have two-factor authentication enabled. So like, this is literally just a worse version of a system that we already have with the follower-only chat. And if that hasn't solved the problem, why would literally worse version of the situation be any better? So, in conclusion, a day of Twitch will not be enough to influence Twitch one way or another. The actual press coverage that happened before the actual thing is going to happen might do something, but might not also. And literally all of the solutions people have been trying to give, people who are aligned with a day of Twitch, have been horrible and will not solve anything at all. So yeah, this is a horrible idea in my opinion. So yeah, we have a huge problem with the lack of easy solutions Twitch could actually enact. Which means that if a lot of different size streamers, small streamers, middle-sized streamers, smaller partners, bigger partners, went into the A Day of Twitch thing, joined in, that would actually harm the very people it's supposed to defend and protect. Because you know what would actually happen then? A lot of people wouldn't have their usual channels to watch, and a lot of people who feel completely indifferent about the hate raids would still be streaming. So that would actually end up like driving up the traffic on the people's channels who don't care about the whole situation, and that would like actively give people who don't care about discrimination a competitive edge over the very victims of that discrimination, who've been suffering and for whom the whole thing is for. Luckily, the A Day of Twitch won't succeed in gaining that much support and that many people joining in, so that's luckily just a nightmare scenario that we will avoid. But that doesn't fix the situation with it just kind of being ineffective. Obviously, I'd love to be proven wrong if Twitch actually somehow has a magical solution for everything, and this is somehow enough to persuade Twitch, then I'm actually happy. I haven't been a victim of a hate raid yet, but I'm sure I'm going to be eventually. So I mean, I would love to see that, but I have absolutely no faith, and I won't be wasting my time with this. If I won't be live on September the 1st, It's not because I'm joining in on a day of Twitch. And I don't want to be supported for something I'm not doing. If for whatever reason I'm not streaming, then I probably have like actual real life responsibilities, or I'm just out doing something random. But it most certainly isn't me taking a strong stand. Yeah, I think that's all. Thanks for watching. I'd like to hear your opinions and your views on the A Day of Twitch, and most of all, possible solutions for the hate raids that Twitch could enact. Yeah, good night, dudes, dudettes, and everything in between. I'll see you in the next video.